At only 8 months old, Brandy and Rob's daughter was rushed to ICU. It was discovered that the baby suffered a skull fracture, and doctors said it was a result of blunt force trauma caused by child abuse. But Brandy says the injury was accidental and that her little girl bumped her head while they were playing. Take a look.
Trying to prove my innocence and being accused of hurting my youngest daughter. On October 23rd, about a few minutes before bedtime, we were sitting there playing. Me and the girls were sitting on the bed doing our own thing. And me and the baby were at the head of the bed. We were tickling each other. When she went to scratch my face, because she was at the clawing stage, it was sharp and it kind of hurt. So I set her down, but I didn't want her to think I was mad at her. So I went to tickle her again, let her know that everything was fine. I went from her belly to her collarbone, and her right side was facing the wall. Was up against the wall. She was facing me. When I went to tickle her, she bucked, and she bumped her little head on the wall. She cried for maybe 30, 45 seconds tops. I collared her, of course. As soon as I was able to feel over her head, I panicked. The bump felt squishy. It did not feel like a normal bump, like a typical goose egg that the kids get. It did not feel that way. I called 911. And when I got to the emergency room was when they told me that she had a fractured skull. That's whenever I was fully aware that CPS was involved. The doctor came in and said that my story did not match up with the injury. What I forgot to tell doctors in my panic that night was that about a week prior, the baby was on all fours on the bed. She went to sit down, to rock back to sit down, and her butt didn't make it all the way on the bed, and she slipped off, and I was not quick enough to reach and grab her. I found no sense of injury whatsoever. She didn't even feel over her head as if she had a headache. There was no bump or anything. When I was told I couldn't see my kids, I was devastated. I was told that I'd be able to see my children 2 days later on the first hearing. My children were not there. I was told I was not allowed to see my children for their best interest. I'm under investigation for child abuse and for force feeding her. Supposedly there was something wrong with her gums, and that is evidence of being force fed. I believe that the baby's father, Rob, doesn't believe me now. At first he said he did believe me, that I would never hurt my child. But now I believe he thinks I did. It makes no sense. And they are looking to prosecute me. And I need to do something to prove my innocence. What I need the world to know is that I didn't hurt my baby. And I wouldn't. I love my children, and they need to be back with me.
No. I can't imagine her doing that. I cannot picture her doing that. But by her own admission, she was the only adult there. And there is no way.
What if she fails her test today?
If she fails the test, I'm going to petition even harder to get my granddaughters. And I would want her to have supervised visitation. But I do want her to be with her babies. I do want her to visit with the babies. I do want the babies to be with her.
Let's bring out the baby's dad, Rob. What's your thoughts about your daughter in foster care? You don't know where your child's at?
I want him out of there.
No. I'll say this. I don't know if she's going to pass or fail her lie detector test, but her story stinks. It's a bad story. And when the story stinks and it doesn't add up, it's usually somebody's not telling the truth. But even if she's telling the truth, it's still bad.
Yeah.
And you got your kids taken away. No excuse. You got your kids taken away. You make bad choice after bad choice. Seems like you meet guys online, and then you hook up with them, and you have babies with them, or you're traveling around with them, and that's your life. You're going to make that your daughter's life, too?
No.
Well, it seems like you are. So is there anything else you'd like to admit to before I read your results? No. Brandy came here to take a lie detector test. We asked her, did you ever try to force feed your baby daughter? She answered no. Did you ever strike or hit your daughter on the head? She answered no. Did you cause your daughter's skull fracture by striking or hitting her on the head? She answered no. Do you know for sure who caused your daughter's skull fracture? She answered no. This is the result of 3 polygraph tests given to her, and the results are inconclusive due to medical issues. So we weren't able to get a conclusive result because you have some type of medical issues. And with that, let's bring out Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hi, how are you, Steve?
You know, I try to reserve myself and not pass judgment, but, you know, her story's terrible. It stinks. You know, 8-month tail. Oh, she bucked and hit her head on a wall. You know, or I don't know how these gums got damaged, but, you know, somebody's taking a bottle and mashing the baby in the mouth. You gave her a test 3 times. She's got some type of medical condition. We weren't able to get a conclusive result. What do you have to
Correct. So thank you, Steve. So yeah, she does have a medical condition that's untreated. So unfortunately, I couldn't get a polygraph result. But as I often do, I conduct other credibility assessment tests, which are utilized by the police, by the FBI, by Child Protective Services to determine if a person is telling the truth or not. So first of all, you called it right away, Steve. The story doesn't add up. And there's an old saying, if it doesn't add up, it's usually because the truth isn't in the equation. So the story doesn't make sense. When I interviewed her, she went off on tangents, couldn't answer questions directly. She rambled, she over-explained, she puts in a lot of unimportant information. Those are all signs of deception. In conducting the FAINT, the Forensic Assessment Interview, that's a series of structured questions, almost like a polygraph with my eyes and ears, and I score it +2, -1. So there's totals that we look at there. The total for passing is 7 or higher, +7 or higher. The totals for failing is -7 or lower. She's a -15 on that test. Okay. Another thing, Steve, is she says she tickled the child, correct? And that the child's head would go towards the tickle. When I asked her to demonstrate it, and she's right-handed, right? You're right-handed, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. She said, if I may, Steve, she went right up the child and tickled the child here, but the fracture's here. Thank you.
It's just the way she was facing.
I don't need Dan to come out on stage and tell me you're a liar.
I didn't lie about this.
Yeah,
I've lied
you
about other
did.
things, but I didn't lie about this.
Oh, you lie about other things. So you pick
Who
and
hasn't
choose
lied?
what you lie about.
You show me who hasn't lied.
I don't lie about my kids.
I don't lie about my kids either.
Yeah. But your kids have a fracture and gums injured because somebody's jamming a bottle in its mouth. That's the difference here. Your kids are with strangers, raising them right now. That's the difference. And the difference is somebody up here can tell the truth and somebody can't.
It's not adding up.
No, it's not.
Then
I
what's
did
up?
not hurt my child.
So then what
period.
the hell happened? What
That's
happened?
what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
Why do you gotta figure it out? You were there.
You were the only
You played
adult
the
in the
role,
room.
Randy. There's nothing to figure
That's
out,
it.
baby.
That night, I know what happened. But prior to that, I don't know if she had another injury that was not shown.
Why wouldn't the doctors tell you? Well, she had an old injury and this added to it.
I hope that you'll fight for custody, and you have a petition already, so at some point, hopefully one of you two gets a hold of your children, your grandchildren, and somebody could have these kids back where they belong. I hope someday you'll be in jail. And at the end of the day, you're still a Get off my stage. I'm sorry I can't be nice or forgiving to somebody that hurts their own children. It doesn't have an explanation for it.
Exactly.
And is more concerned about her own happiness or her own well-being over her children's. And I hope that one of you will update and let us know what happened with her, because she will end up in jail someday. Good luck to you.